Today we're going to read an article called Follow Those Hummingbirds. In addition to reading, we also have to answer a set of questions. Before reading this article, which isn't too long, I want to know what it is that I need to understand so that I can be successful in my questions. The best way to do this is to preview your questions before you begin reading. I've got 5 questions, so I want to preview so that I know exactly what it is that I'm looking for, so that I can understand the article main idea before I even begin reading, and so that I can successfully look for these items as I read. Question 1 says, when studying hummingbird migration pathways, what are scientists concerned about? I've got multiple choice 4 options. A, scientists are concerned about hummingbird feeders. B, scientists are concerned about people planting flowers. C, scientists are concerned about climate change. And D, scientists are concerned about the Hummingbirds at Home project. Take a moment to read question number 2. What does this text describe? Without reading the article, I tend to think that D is not going to be an option because that seems to be primarily about flowers and not about hummingbirds. So I'm going to look for the text describing food for a hummingbird, climate change and the hummingbirds, or migration paths and the hummingbirds. For number 3, it says scientists are not the only ones fascinated by these busy birds. What evidence from the text supports this statement? Go ahead and take a moment to read options A, B, C, and D. After reading the question, scientists are not the only ones fascinated by these busy birds. What evidence from the text supports this statement? I can rule out 2 of these choices. C, one thing scientists are concerned about is climate change. That doesn't really support the idea that scientists aren't the only ones fascinated by hummingbirds. That is primarily about climate change. What other option is not so much about other people besides scientists studying the hummingbirds? Good. D says along hummingbirds' migratory routes, different plants bloom just in time for the hungry travelers to grab a meal. That's probably true, but that does not support the statement that scientists are not the only ones fascinated by these busy birds. Number 4 says, according to the text, scientists believe that climate change could change the blooming patterns of flowers. Based on the information in this text, what do you think will most likely happen to hummingbirds if this is true? A, nothing will change. B, hummingbirds will stop migrating. C, hummingbirds will become extinct. Or D, hummingbirds will change their migration paths. One of these answers doesn't really make sense because I don't know that they would write the article if this option were to take place. Which option can we strike out automatically? Good. I don't think they would write about it if nothing would change as a result of it. So that gives us 3 options to think about for number 4. Number 5, what is the main idea of this text? So this would be the big, overwhelming umbrella that the whole article is about. Our options include A, climate change is making plants bloom at different times. B, climate change is potentially changing the migration routes of hummingbirds through altering blooming schedules. C, scientists enjoy learning about hummingbirds and their migration patterns. Or D, many people attract hummingbirds to their yards and parks by planting flowers and hummingbirds. D, many people attract hummingbirds to their yards and parks by planting flowers hummingbirds like. The main idea of this text is again going to be what the whole article is about. Keep in mind, the title is Follow Those Hummingbirds. Which option doesn't make sense because it's not about hummingbirds in the statement? Good, I agree. We can cross out A and just focus on 3 choices for question 5.